Hello, and thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Yvonne Gamble, and I'm the co-founder of Women Leading Change Now. We are a political advocacy group here in the United States, and today we're going to be coming to you live with a show, our parallel event for the United Nations Conference on the Status of Women. This is our 65th convening of our conference, and we are working on goal number 108. And this is our parallel event, aligning your financial goals. And today we're going to be speaking with a young woman, business owner out of Atlanta, Georgia. Her name is Nichelle Jones. I'm going to let her tell you more about her. That way we make certain that you can hear it actually directly from her, just what it is that she does. So we're going to bring her on, and we're going to say hello and welcome her. Welcome, Nichelle. We're so happy to have you here with us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, this is wonderful. So the first thing I want to ask you about is the RHU. What does that stand for?
Yes, I am a registered health underwriter. So, being in the insurance industry prior to the Affordable Care Act, and some still left in the life insurance business, I'd have to be able to underwrite your health conditions to determine status on approval or decline of your enrollment application. So it's just kind of a broad designation to understand the ins and outs of offering coverage and at what rate that an individual would pay.
Oh, okay. So you work with, so then who would be your clients? Would you work directly with the individual or the companies, or you work with the corporation, or you work for the corporations or the insurance companies?
I work directly with the individuals and for small businesses or employer groups, depending upon their size. If they have to go through medical, any type of medical questions or underwriting for either their medical insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, then that's how I'm kind of your advocate in between yourself and the insurance carrier.
Ah, okay. So you're there working. Okay, I love the fact that you said that you're advocating for for the individuals,
Yeah.
for the companies, because a lot of times, especially now, there's always been that big issue with the Affordable Care Act, and even before that, that pre-existing condition. So could you kind of give us a little, just a synopsis before we kind of get into things here?
Definitely. In terms of for here in the United States, if you're an individual looking for medical insurance and you're not under a large employer corporate plan, before the Affordable Care Act, you had to go to the individual market and apply for coverage. And at that time, you had to fill out a health question or questionnaire. And then it would go back to the insurance carrier to determine if you were approved, and if approved, at what rate. Before they may even exclude certain conditions to cover you on an insurance policy. Same thing for very, very small employers. They used to have to go through that same process. But as a result of the Affordable Care Act, all those pre-existing conditions are now accepted automatically. And so the only time you're really answering health questions now is if you are getting some sort of supplemental policy, like I mentioned, a life insurance, disability, or some other policies like critical illness, things like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go in depth and, with Nichelle and go through, some of the just different questions that we know that you out there, around the globe want to hear, want to understand. And we're just giving just a few moments to make certain that all translators are on and everyone is able to translate in their respective languages. The title of her talk is going to be Securing Affordable Health Benefits and Services. And the first question that we're going to go over with Nichelle is, what is it like for women working in this particular industry that you have chosen for yourself?
Okay. It's very good, actually, in terms of both on a corporate level and on an entrepreneur level. My background originally was in human resources and I've been in this industry for more than 20 years now. So the first part of my career, I worked directly with employers, with their employees, with their benefits as it related to them. And so during that time, you'll see a lot of women, especially in human resource backgrounds, departments, things like that. So it's very easy to kind of get into the business. My undergraduate degree is in psychology. And so I wanted to go into a business platform and apply that, and helping people is what I wanted to do. And so human resources was generally how I started off in the business, and then migrated more into the benefits realm over the last 15, 20 years, I should say. So as an insurance broker or agency owner, you will see there are some women in the insurance industry that are owners of their agency. Not as many on my side of the business, which is the life and health side, more so on what they call the property and casualty side, which is going to be more like your State Farms, your Geicos, your Nationwides. Those are what they call property casualty companies. But for the most part, you won't see like a storefront from one of the major insurance carriers here in the United States. You won't see a United Healthcare retail office or something along those lines. You have to go through an insurance broker, and that's what Jones Health and Benefits is, and what I am that middle person or your advocate directly.
Okay, well that's very good. Well, I'm going to ask this question: how did you choose to do this as a business?
Well, when I realized I had come back from vacation and found out that my corporate position was no longer available to me. And so I am a licensed agent. And so about 10 and a half years ago, I thought I was just going to go back into another corporate position. But then I was like, well, you know what? I'm licensed too. Maybe I should just go ahead and pursue what I've always had in my heart anyhow, which was to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. And so, of course, doing what you're familiar with is what I always tell any young person, any woman, what your background is, because that's what you're going to be passionate about. And so as time progressed, I was doing much more business on my own instead of putting in resumes elsewhere. And so that's how I got into owning my agency now for almost 10 and a half years.
Well, that is wonderful. I applaud you for that. Congratulations. That's a while, to be out there. How is it that you come by your clients? How do your clients know that you are there?
Well, prior to the pandemic, I used to do much more what I call kind of more face-to-face networking, which is I would go to different, and this is by trial and error. I always tell people, figure out what works for you, for your business. But what was successful for me is because not a lot of people know what especially a health insurance broker is, I would go to industry events and business events just to meet other business people. And that was to position myself as to hopefully be the only person of my background in the room. And so I could develop relationships as I go to events, especially here in Atlanta. There's events all of the time prior to the pandemic. So I was able to develop relationships. And so as people and as businesses got to learn more about me or meet me personally, that's when the phone would just ring on its own, or I would get referrals, which is probably the biggest set of my marketing is from past clients. Or people that have met me before, and they'll refer their business, family, and friends to me as well. I do have an online presence that some people have started, probably more so in the last 2 to 3 years prior, and more so with the pandemic, have found me that way as well. So I've been able to not only work with individuals and companies here in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia area, but I've been contacted throughout the Southeast and the Midwest as well.
So would you say that small business owners, this is something that they would be good for them to, have a conversation with you just to kind of understand some of the ins and outs and intricacies, of having insurance?
Yes, very much so. Even if, prior to them having employees, and then subsequently when they do have employees, because I do work with a lot of self-employed people as well, who have a lot of contractors who haven't are not in position to invest in a group benefit plan, is what they call it here in the U.S. And so I work with those individuals until they're ready to move to that next step. And then at that point, I help them design and implement an employee benefit package, so they can roll that out to their employees. Or as sometimes other companies will come to me, business owners will come to me because they're not happy with who they initially started with and wanted to make a change, and they either found me or referred to me, and then I've become their broker of record at that point as well.
Okay. Excellent. Well, that's dynamic
Yeah.
with that, and I think that's very informational because you have, and especially now, of course, we've got the question up about the pandemic and that sort of thing, but I just wanted to kind of rest there, just to let the audience know that what Michelle basically is offering to you is that opportunity to, reach out to her, talk to her, and to really kind of discuss it and see where you are and see what some of your options are. Because when you have an advocate, across any industry, that advocate is going to be working on your behalf, and they're going to be, looking out for, what's going to really work, for you and to work with you. And like you said, it also helps to build a bridge. So if you're not ready, for that next big step or that big jump, then maybe she can have you do, some of the little smaller things that you can do, because it's going to be very critical especially now, with the pandemic, we're kind of moving away from calling it a pandemic, but coronavirus is kind of here to stay. And now it has, mutated into something else. But health insurance is going to is a critical issue. Health insurance is no longer an option, and we're just hoping that everybody realizes that it is a benefit and it is no longer an option. But kind of getting to our question regarding the pandemic, and as we move beyond the pandemic stage of this, how has this affected the economics and the growth in the health and benefits sector?
I would say it's been pretty steady with some additional growth. Like I mentioned before, probably prior to the pandemic, most of my client base was more local or statewide. But now with people being at home, it's definitely, people have found me more online. And so that's brought people from other parts of the country to me that probably I would not have been able to touch prior to the pandemic. And been able to help them just like I do here in my home state here in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. What's also helped in the realm because of the pandemic is I also help people on the other side of their career as they retire and transition into Medicare. So, and so as those baby boomers, because they will be around for the next 15, 18 years or so, that group is getting more technically savvy. And so just like all the self-employed and the businesses who find me, so are those people pending retirement or moving into Medicare as well. And so I'm able to kind of help them more facilitate that process into retirement. So the pandemic has basically brought more people to me that probably wouldn't have found me initially, because now you've been at home. And so quite frankly, you're on that computer and you're looking and you've got time. And so now some of the things I've tried to do socially and online is catching more people and more traction now.
Oh, okay. So what that sounds like to me is growth.
Yes.
is, really what you're seeing is exponential growth,
Yes.
simply because of the people are, at home,
Mhm.
and they are having more time, and more than likely they're taking more time.
Yes, very much
Yeah,
so.
they're taking more time.
Yep.
And that's a good thing. And yes, that's really a good thing that we're doing that, just all the way around, because that's going to put us into better health.
Yeah.
And then, just even having that ease of mind that your health is taken care of, and that if any, condition should arise, you've got some benefit for it. So you
Exactly.
definitely want to reach out to Nichelle, regarding, making certain that you get those health benefits, in order, for yourself, because we are now our caregivers, and we are our caretakers
Yes, very much
of
so.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what this moves us into now is we're always concerned here, with when we convene the United Nations, conference on the status of women. One of our major, this was one of the major components why the conference even began, back some years ago, 65 years ago, when they very first undertook the convening. And that was on women's equality issues. And while we have seen some major strides and some major changes to where, women have come into the forefront of different industries, can you just kind of give us, in your particular industries, what can we look forward to, or are we, have we pretty much passed the area where we are now equal in this particular industry that you're in?
I would say we could definitely use more women in this industry, especially in terms of decision making and entrepreneurial side of it. There are a lot of women on the administrative side and in corporate roles with this, but on the entrepreneurial side, when I used to go to my area broker meetings, it was very rare to see other female agency owners, especially on the life and health side of the insurance, which I am. And not sure why that is. I mean, it might have just been they never thought about trying to step out and be an agency owner, or they're happy where they are. But typically, it's a typically older male a lot of times that have been agency owners for so long, as I would call the old guard, that's 20 or 30, or I should say now at 30, 40 years in the business. And so it's nice to see other women not only come into the industry and really what I say to strive to own your own agency, kind of go beyond just working in the office and supporting. But if it speaks to you to own your own business, go ahead and step out on faith and just move at your pace in order to do that. You don't have to go big initially when you first step out. You could start, well, I always tell people you can transition, do just some things, specific clients, a little bit at a time. Especially if you're still working in corporate America, and you're trying to do that incognito
Yeah.
thing, because there is when they say, I think I heard earlier on when it says it takes you about 3 or 4 years to earn a profit when you start a business. That's very true in this industry as well. So you want to make sure you have some financial stability to hold you down while you build your book of business, is what we call it in the insurance world, but you build your clientele. So you don't get discouraged so quickly at the beginning, because it does invest some time initially.
Okay. Well, excellent. That is so excellent. That you have that. And just a quick question that I have: is there, in that particular industry, is it possible to pick up sponsors, someone who may sponsor you, maybe say a Transamerica, maybe they're looking to build their business, on an outtake or something like that. Would that be one that might come in, to be a sponsor, or others that you could think of to help someone who wants to go into this particular business?
Yes, there's two things you can do. Well, first and foremost, if you have to get your insurance license. You have to be licensed to be a broker or an agent. Because anytime you're selling or educating another individual in your respective state here in the United States, you have to be licensed to do so. Once you get to that, after you satisfy that part of it, there are what they call captive agents, which would partner, like you said, or sponsor with like a particular carrier, and you present only their products
Oh,
to
okay.
clientele. I'm what they call an independent broker, so I work with a huge range of different carriers because I want to be able to meet whichever needs, whichever carrier's plans meet my client where they are. And so I'm what they call an independent, but there are captive arrangements out there. So if someone prefers to take that route, whether it's a Transamerica or an Aflac or anything like that, you can certainly do that.
Okay. Now, well, being as an independent, then does that mean that you have to, for some of those other carriers, do you have to, have a particular certification to offer certain of their particular products that they have, or is it pretty much your insurance license would cover all of that?
For the most part, it's your license, and then you get what they call appointed. So you do a background check, you fill out an application, and then they, make their decision from there. For the Medicare side, it's a little more complicated. I have to go through a yearly, because of the requirements of the Center of Medicaid and Medicare Services here. I'm required to do an annual training, and then for each carrier that offers Medicare product or insurance plans, I have to do their separate annual certification. So that's a little more tedious, but yes, some carriers will have some sort of training that you would have to go through before you can actually sell or enroll your clients into one of their insurance policies.
Okay. Oh my goodness, that's excellent. I know it's a lot of studying, but the investment is great, and the investment payoff is even better.
Yeah.
I can imagine, because now when you're going, for yourself, not only for yourself, but also, for your clients, because now they feel very comfortable that, you have the necessary credentials, to offer and to, explain to them the various services, from the different carriers.
Yeah.
Is there, that's excellent, Nichelle. I am very proud of the work that you're doing, here in the Atlanta area, taking that on, as an independent, taking on just going off into that. That's wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to share, with the audience here, just for the industry to maybe, encourage them, encourage women to come into this industry, encourage clientele to maybe come, and utilize the services, whatever parting words that you would like to give?
Okay. Well, first, for those folks that are interested in coming in this industry, it's definitely something that I would encourage you to do, especially if you're looking for a career that can provide work-life balance. Because as a mother myself, I'm able to not only run my business, support my business myself, but also have the time to spend time with my son as he continues to grow. And it allows me that freedom to do so. So if it's something that you want to pursue, it's definitely worth the investment of getting your license in whichever state you live in, and pursuing being a licensed agent, so to speak. And then if you are a person wanting to partner with a broker like myself, you've been out on your own, you've been signing up for insurance on your own, but not quite sure if that makes sense for you, or if you're a business owner and you're saying, hey, I'm ready to put in benefits, certainly you can contact me. We can set up a time and talk in more detail, and that way I can tailor what your needs are and your budget to what makes the most sense for you going forward. I'm happy to do that. I offer free consultations in order to do that, because I want to make sure that we're both the right fit for each other. And because I'm looking to have long-lasting relationships with my clientele, so I want to make sure that I'm the right person for you, and vice versa. But yes, at Jones Health and Benefits, we do everything from, like I mentioned at the beginning, we work explicitly with employer groups. So if you're an HR person or business owner, a retiree phasing into Medicare or retirement, or self-employed, I'm here for you to be your advocate and your educator on your health insurance benefits and services, and making sure that you are protected from the unlikely event, hopefully, of a health event, and protect you with the insurance products we offer.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you for being our guest here on the UN CSW 65 here for 2021. And we look forward to having you back on some of our other shows that we have. And we just want to sign off and say thank you so much, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.